Would you say I have a reasonable understanding of how to execute these various sex acts properly?
Yes.
How awesome is that?
What you're doing is disgusting. Listen, lady. Hello everybody. You might notice that I'm looking rather dashing today. It's because we've got a brand new lens on this camera. I like it. I hope you like it as well. We're stepping the game up a little bit here. You'll notice also that my videos, my shorter form content that you'll be seeing on this channel over the next couple of months is going to be improved in terms of its quality. We're also using this exact same lens for that. So, voila. Looking even more handsome than I normally do. Fucking with a turtleneck. Good to see you, my friend. How awesome is that? Indeed. Shozan, always good to see you in the chat, mate. And Republic of Awesome, good to see you as well, sir. Today, I wanted to talk about something that you thought I'd be tanned in Miami. Am I not tanned? Look, I'm not pale. Screw you, Silverman. No, it is hot as balls here in Miami. Like, ridiculously humid for me. I'm used to, like, dry heat. I'm used to dry Californian heat and dry, like, Australian heat. That I can handle all day. Doesn't bother me. You can get as hot as you like. I'm fine in that heat. But just crank the humidity up a tiny bit, and I am sweating balls. This heat is really it's really throwing me a curveball. So it's gonna take me some time to get used to this. It's kind of like mountain training. You know how people go up and train in the Swiss Alps or in like the Peruvian mountains, and they get used to like limited oxygen exposure. That's kind of what I'm doing, but with humidity instead. So we'll see how my body copes to it. I mean, look, it's probably going to be great for my skin because, you know, sweating is good for your skin and stuff. So I'll be even more stunningly beautiful by the end of this. Mihai Bonet, good to see you, mate. It's good to see you guys all in the chat. Xavier, good to see you too. Danny Arnold, as always, it's a pleasure to have you there, sir. Lads, let's talk about systemizing dating, shall we? Because this is something that I actually intended to talk about this, probably like 3 weeks ago now. Because it was sort of something a night, but then I had a few interviews to do in the meantime. I had a few people scheduled on the show. We ended up doing interviews instead, and then, you know, now it's time to do a new topic myself. But the idea came to me because of the whole social media clampdown. Like, lots of people were getting booted off Twitter. Lots of people were getting booted off various platforms. Tech giants were sort of flexing their power and giving people the boot. And there's a concept in the book. It's not The Millionaire Fastlane. It's written by the same author as The Millionaire Fastlane. What is the book called? It's here in my Audible. I think it is Unscripted by MJ DeMarco, recommended to me by my dear friend John from Modern Life Dating. A really good book. Go check out some of John's stuff while you're here as well. And he has a concept in there where he talks about like how you don't really have a business. Right, we're talking about business. I'm going to link this back to dating in a second. But there's a concept in there where if you have a business, right, and it's built off somebody else's business, then you don't really have a business. Here's what I mean. Say, for example, you make 6 figures a year selling products on Amazon, right? You're thinking, great, I've got it easy. It's remote income. It's I don't have to really do anything. It's semi-passive income. I've got it made. And then all of a sudden, Amazon decides we don't like you, and they flip the switch and turn you off at the whim of a button. And they have that power. That is that's a terrifying situation to be in. But that's an example of not being not having like a solid foundation for your business, right? Because you're not protecting yourself against that eventuality. You need to have like a plan B for that in a way. And in that example, okay, the way to get around that is, okay, well, you diversify. You diversify into multiple platforms, or you eventually transition into being like you're the one who is doing the logistics and the sales, and everything's done through your own website, so people can't shut you down, right? You try to make yourself as anti-fragile as you possibly can. That's kind of the concept, right, of having in his book Unscripted, he talks about becoming anti-fragile with your business, because you see so many people who have like big YouTube channels, and then the YouTube channel gets taken away or completely demonetized, and their income stream dries up overnight at the whim of somebody else, just because they might not like what you're saying. So, with that being said, I thought this is actually a very interesting concept, and you can apply this to every aspect of your life, really. I mean, look at what's happening in Texas right now. What has been happening in Texas this last week. It's like everyone's frozen in. I remember seeing a tweet recently, I think it was by Cultibra, where he was saying Texans used to be the kind of people who would go out and hunt for the week on the weekend, but now they've become so comfortable and pussified due to Uber Eats that they're stuck in their home freezing, and they've got no idea what to do. And he's kind of right there, because Uber Eats makes people stupidly comfortable, and it's dangerously comfortable. Because when something like what happened in Texas happens, where all the power turns off and everyone's frozen in, and they got no fucking food at home, they're in the shit. You know, that's an example of being fragile. So how would you become anti-fragile? Well, just have some fucking rice in the cupboard. Like having a big ass bag of rice on standby in emergency. Have some canned food in emergency. Have some bottled water in an emergency. Whatever. It's really simple. I'm not talking like massive prepper shit here. I'm talking, you don't need like a nuclear bunker. I'm just talking like, okay, like some kind of urban survival prep stuff there. You know what I mean? That would help you become anti-fragile to a degree in, a power outage or in a extreme weather condition like we're seeing in Texas. So, like I said, this idea of becoming anti-fragile can apply to every area of your life. So, how can we apply this to dating? Interesting idea, right? First, I'll quickly catch up with the chat here, because I see we've had a few more people popping in. Where did we get to? RX7 Online, good to see you, my friend. Jacob Amaral, good to see you too, sir. Hit that like button while we're here. Don't forget to smash that like button. Never forget to smash the like button. As you jump in the chat, make it a habit. Jump in the chat, smash the like button. Or if you're watching the replay, watch the replay, smash the like button straight away. All right? Helps the channel grow. Affy Kingdom, always good to see you, my friend. Salute to you, sir. Salute to you. Yeah, Sullivan thinks there's a decentralized social media coming. I agree. Something on the blockchain, possibly, would be quite exciting to see. There's already, while we're here, while you've mentioned that, because Sullivan just said decentralized social media coming, there is a decentralized blockchain-based version of YouTube. It is called, it's based on Library, but the platform is called Odyssey. I'm on it. All of these videos are on it. I sync to there. If you want to get away from YouTube, if you want to get away from the powers that be, I would highly recommend you go check out Library and Odyssey. In fact, I'm going to link my, let's see if I can, while I'm remembering it, I'm going to find you my channel and drop it in the chat just to give you guys an introduction. Boop. Channels. My channel. That should work. Bam. Cool. Go there, and now you can start getting away from YouTube and whatnot, and go onto a blockchain-backed, decentralized video streaming service, which is actually quite fantastic, if I'm being honest. Yes. Where we get to? Just wanted to catch up with this chat here. Divining Rod has said, well said. Fuck with the turtleneck. Henry F, good to see you, my friend. D King. All right, cool. Oh, thank you very much for here, William. I recommend Stirling's sexual dominance escalation course. I've bought the course and turned up my skills. It was good before. Now I'm a beast. Thank you very much, William. Thank you very much. And look, I don't do this. I don't do this enough. I definitely do not do this enough. Where is? It's really annoying. Trying to bam. There we go. I don't do this enough. I don't plug my shit enough. So there it is. Go to Stirling Cooper. Go to gumroad.com/Stirling Cooper. This is where you can get all my courses. You can get my free, totally free guide, 5 subtle mistakes men make in the bedroom and how to fix them. Totally free. You can get it right there. You can get my $97 ebook, How I Grew My Penis and Other Porn Industry Secrets. I talk about a whole bunch of stuff. I talk about penis growth. Obviously, I talk about erectile dysfunction cures. I talk about premature ejaculation cures. I talk about how to become multi-orgasmic. I talk about how to push girls' buttons in the bedroom. I talk about a ton of stuff. And then in my sexual dominance escalation video course, obviously I break down step-by-step how to go from being very vanilla, very tame in the bedroom to being a complete beast, as William just attested to. So, there you go. I don't plug my shit enough, so there you go. But we will. Rage Guy, smash the like button. Good reminder. Thank you. And Dave Despy, good to see you. Sam, good to see you. Alrighty. Let's keep going down. And Slavi, greetings from Canada. Good to see you too. Now, yes, if we can keep it from the pirates, Slimate, exactly. So, this idea of like systemizing your dating is kind of similar to like becoming anti-fragile in dating, right? Well, in a couple of different ways. So, you'll notice that guys who have an abundance of women, they have some form of system for getting women into their life, right? And I was going to go over a few examples of guys I know, and I'm not going to give away their secrets, but I'm going to give you a rough outline of like what their systems kind of look like, so you can sort of start to piece together something for yourself. You know, because you got to play to your own strengths. You got to play to like your circumstances, your particular logistics, and find a way to make it work for you. Because here's something I noticed, right? Here's something I really noticed in when I left the US to go bounce around Europe. My system for my love life, right, for want of a better word, to try and keep the language tame here on YouTube, my system was basically using my porn industry connections. So we have a thing in the porn industry which is called content shares, a content trade. Basically, a male performer and a female performer get together and they have sex, and they set up a camera in the room and they record it, and then they can both sell it on their respective clip sites, OnlyFans sites, whatever. It's called a content trade. It's basically a way of putting your sex life on autopilot, effectively, because not to mention that I also have my work, which is like also literally puts my sex life into a schedule in my diary. It's like Wednesday I'm having sex, Monday I'm having sex, fantastic, and I'm getting paid for it at the same time. But with the content share stuff, it's a case of like if me and another female performer follow each other on Instagram or on Twitter, it's simply a case of, and I've shown people plenty of examples of this. It's just a case of me saying, "Hey, we haven't had the pleasure to shoot. We haven't had a chance to shoot together yet. Would love to shoot content together. if you're interested. That's it. That's kind of like my stock standard message I would send to a girl in the porn industry, or even a girl who's just an OnlyFans girl or a webcam girl. Even if I know that she does shoot guy-girl stuff, if she's not just a solo performer, that's my go-to message. It's super simple. It's professional. It shows that I understand the lingo in my industry that I am, and I'm obviously a performer because they can just scroll through my feed and see that I work for big companies. And so that's kind of like not my dating. I don't actually do any dating. It's just purely sex. That's my sex life on autopilot. Bang. You know? And so you'll notice that as I go through this little list of a few different examples of guys that I know, they have different setups, but it's a similar style of autopiloting or automating or systematizing their dating life, right? Because what happens is, and here's the big thing that I noticed, right? So there's a pro and a con to this. There's a pro and a con to this. So the pro for my situation is obviously it's very effortless. The con is as soon as I step out of that environment, the system disappears completely. So when I left America and I went touring around Europe, I mean, I've been in the industry for like 4 years now, and I haven't really had to do any dating. And then I left for Europe, and I'm like, oh shit, I'm rusty at this. Like, I'm really rusty. I had to jump back on Tinder and like actually put some effort in. I was like, God damn it. I was saying this to Tom, who was traveling with me. I was saying this to him. I was like, Jesus Christ, this is so much more effort than I remember. Like texting back and forth and fucking convincing it, like talking to multiple women and getting them to scheduling a date and then fucking going on a date and talking to them. Like, Jesus Christ, all this fucking effort just to get your dick wet. So you realize how like that's the con, right, of having that sort of a well-built system, right? Having a very, very easy system is that when the system disappears, it's like, damn, I've got to start from scratch again. I don't get me wrong, I know what I'm doing, but I had to remember all the shit I used to do before I got into the porn industry. I had to remember all that stuff. I'm like, oh, what did I used to do? What did I used to say? Oh yeah, okay. This now like the shaking off the rust a bit. It's been this last couple of months have been about shaking the rust off. Luckily, I was able to shake it off in time to see some success. But let's get into a few examples of some other like systems that I know guys have used in the past, friends of mine, or they currently use now, to kind of like automate their like dating life. But before we get into that, Sam with the £5 super chat. Thank you very much, Sam. I bought Stirling's book, and right after looking at it, my wang instantly grew 3 inches. It's science. Touche, Sam. Touche. I actually, tell you what, while I actually did have, I'm going to bring this up. I actually did have a customer email me yesterday. Let's see if I can find this most recent screenshot. I think this is the one. Oh no, I haven't blurred his name out, so I can't show it. But I'll read it out to you. I got to blur out his name, so you can't. I'm not going to dox the guy. But he says, 56-year-old married guy who used to be a solid 6 inches in length and 5.5 inches in girth when I was younger. No idea when it started happening, but I shrunk to 5.5 inches in length. I mean, this tends to happen as guys get older. He's 56, so that's not that surprising. He says, wife actually commented on the loss of size a year ago. 6 weeks after starting your program, I've gained a 1/4 inch in length back. I'm stoked and in it to win it. Going for my younger size and more. Thanks for bringing these techniques to my attention. Bang. It's not going to happen as quickly as Sam has just mentioned here in the super chat, but that's actually a good idea of like how long, like a steady idea, an idea of steady gains. It's like 6 weeks, a 1/4 inch in his length, get back, bang. And this is from a guy who like lost size as well. So that's, I absolutely love seeing testimonials like that pop up in my email all the time. So anyway, let's go back and let's get into some ideas of systems, right? So one of my friends out here in Miami, his brother is a salsa teacher. Now, this salsa teacher, oddly enough, he sort of doubles up his sex life with his advertising life. A lot of the girls that he uses on, so he has like a Facebook page, where he puts up videos of him dancing with girls to sort of in his adverts and whatnot, to promote his page, to promote his service, to promote his salsa school. All the girls in his adverts he's actually slept with, apparently. This is according to his brother. And you think about that as a way, as like a system, right? He's same as me. He's combined his work with his love life. So like, girls come into his salsa dancing school, and don't get me wrong, like a lot of the kinds of women who go into a salsa school tend to be like late 20s, early 30s, or even mid 30s kind of women who have like what we might say like hitting the wall or post wall, right? They can't find a guy, so they're trying different avenues, and dance classes tend to be a pretty common one for sort of middle-aged women. But anyway, he doesn't care. They come in, he teaches them. He's obviously like the alpha male in that environment. He's at the top of the pecking order. He's at the top of the hierarchy. He's the guy who's teaching the fucking class. All the women are deferring to him. All the men are deferring to him, right? He's able to physically escalate with a woman in a safe, like socially acceptable context by dancing with her. And salsa is a very, very erotic, romantic kind of a dance. It's not like standoffish and high. Say for example, something like swing dancing is like very high energy and you're actually very far apart a lot of the time. But something like salsa or samba or tango is very like intimate and close, and there's lots of hip, well, more so salsa and samba, there's lots of hip movements that go along with it. So it's a very sexualized dance. So he's just got this constant rotation of women coming into his class. He flirts with them all. He gets a bunch of them who are interested in him. They do private classes or whatever it is, or he hits them up, be like, "Oh, hey, I need some new footage for my my adverts or to promote my school on Facebook. Do you want to come over and film some stuff with me?" And she's like, "Yeah, sure." Glass of wine later, there's dick in her pants. Ta-da! Right? That's an example of a system. He doesn't really have to do anything. He doesn't actively have to go out and source, right? So another example would be guys who are like DJs, guys who work in back when we used to have nightclubs, heaven forbid. The guys who used to be behind the decks, who used to be pumping out all the music at nightclubs and stuff, they had a similar situation. They're the one in the club that everyone's paying attention to. They're the one that everyone's deferring to. There's always girls going up to like the DJ requesting songs and shit. And it's just this, it's a very effortless stream of women coming at him whilst he's doing his work. Whilst he's making money, building his career, building his network, he's also got this constant stream of chicks coming at him. He doesn't have to do a goddamn thing. It doesn't have to actively go out there and source them. They're coming to him all the time, right? Same thing goes if we're talking about clubs and bars and things. Same thing tends to go for bouncers. Dudes who are really, who's big enough, jacked enough, and can fight well enough to work as a bouncer. They're like literally the gatekeepers to clubs. And especially if they're working at like a really high-end club, a very popular club, they tend to just be inundated with ladies coming in, giving them the number, giving them the checking ID. All the dude has to do is like flirt with the girl for like 5 seconds. And he's got the girls coming in and he's got the girls coming out as well. So they come in, see the big see the big fun bouncer. They go in, they strike out with dudes. There's no cool dudes in the club or whatever. They come outside. Who's there at the door on their way out? It's the bouncer. Oh, get the number, whatever. Hit him up after the club. It's like just a stupidly easy sourcing system for them. They're not like out there in the malls doing like day game approaches in the malls or on the streets or on the beach or anything, or they're not like hitting up the clubs every night of the week to try and like add numbers in their rotation. It's infinitely simpler than that. And they've got girls that are actually like showing genuine desire, genuine interest in them, right? Let's keep going. What did I get to there? Salsa porn music clubs. So obviously the one that a lot of guys are teaching these days, my friends John from Modern Life Dating is teaching a lot of this stuff. I highly recommend you go check out his stuff. Obviously Myron Gaines and Fresh Prince CEO are teaching it on the Fresh and Fit podcast as well. Their stuff's fantastic too. They're teaching, both of these guys are teaching like social media, dating app stuff. So sourcing through the various dating apps, so things like Tinder, things like Bumble, things like Hinge, right? And just working volume. And obviously my friend Alex from Playing with Fire, he teaches this as well. And here's the thing with that is like, you don't want to get that to work for you, to get that to be efficient, right? Because here's the thing that I noticed was, again, leaving my system, which is the porn industry, and then going bouncing around Europe for a while and having to rely on like Tinder and stuff to get dates. It's like, okay, you need to sort of dedicate a specific amount of time to be on the app, to be messaging girls, to be setting up, to be getting closing, getting numbers, and to be setting up dates, right? There has to be a structure and a system in your head. You can't be floundering around with it, because if you're floundering around with it, if you're just texting aimlessly and you're going nowhere, if there's no end goal, you're not moving the interaction towards like a close and then a date, you're not going to get anything, because you're not going to, no woman is ever going to close herself for you. You're the guy. You have to do the fucking work. Like, you are the one who has to lead the interaction to a place where something can happen. The phrase I like to, you're the one who has to engineer serendipity. That's your job, mate. Women are okay. Women live life, and life just happens to women. Men have to actively create situations, right? That's why I like to say you're engineering serendipity, because to a woman, she's like, oh, we just met and he swept me off her feet and we just happened to be, we just got a drink and then we just ended up in his place. I don't know how we ended up in this place. But the dude had a plan in the back of his head the whole time. He's like, all right, I'm going to take her here. We're going to get a drink. I'm going to give this excuse for us to pull back to my apartment. Oh, check out my dog, check out my balcony, check out my pool, whatever it might be. Like, and there's a system in his head. So he's got a plan and he just executes on the plan, and voila, dick in the pants, right? But to her, it's just serendipity. It just happened. But you as a guy, you have to have a plan. You can't just flounder around, right? In the back of your head, you've got a system. Look at every guy. I mean, Tristan Tate, good example of this, sort of Tristan Tate, right? So during the lockdown, Tristan's posted about this a few times. He's talked about this pretty openly. Like, he has, this last year, because of the whole COVID situation, because Romania's locked down, he developed like a system, which was, because he lives in he's got a really nice house, plenty of booze in it, good music, comfortable couches. It's a fun place for girls to go to. All the clubs are shut. There's no restaurants to take them to. There's nowhere to go. So he just invites, and he's got a jacuzzi and a pool and a cute dog at his house. Why wouldn't a girl want to go to his place? And he's got all these fucking awesome looking supercars. So he's just like, oh, look, everything's shut. Why don't you come over and drink some wine with me? Have a bottle of wine. We'll just chill in the jacuzzi, chill in the pool, chill whatever, like play my dog, whatever the hell it is. And it's just okay, fine. But he's got a plan. Like, he has and when they get to his house, he has a plan that he executes on. It's like, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, and this is how I get laid. And guys sort of flounder around a bit too much, probably because they've never done, a lot of dudes, like, especially if they're new to this, they haven't figured out, like, how to close. They don't have enough experience doing it they don't have enough experience closing to have developed a pattern themselves, to have developed a system that works for themselves, right? Which is fine. It takes time to work that out. But you'll notice that every dude who's really good with chicks, every guy who gets laid a lot, has a system, and he repeats that system. Doesn't mean he says the same shit every time. Doesn't mean he's like using canned lines all the time. He's having a genuine interaction with the girl, but he has a system in terms of where he wants to take the interaction and how the date is planned and how the night is planned out, so that he's like, okay, optimizing his chances to have sex at the end of the day. He's engineering serendipity. Like I said, a lot of guys are teaching right now, like Tinder, Bumble, Hinge, Game, and a large part of that is, I will say this in regards to like having like canned lines and say scripted openers and scripted like follow-up texts and things like that. Just going back to like, as I've been playing around with it and remembering my like early pickup days, and remembering some of the funny shit I used to say to girls then. I'm like, oh, I'm remembering like some of these lines, and it's like, I think Andrew Tate said this. He was like, you have to give girls You have to say things to girls that are easy for them to respond to. You can't expect a girl to continue a conversation ever, right? Especially on a dating app, like especially if it's, you know, a simple interaction like that where you're trying to like compete for attention with a bunch of other dudes. You have to say things to her which are very likely to elicit a response, so it keeps the conversation going. It's something that's easy for her to respond to, right? It's easy for her to come up with a response to it. Not something like, because a lot of things that guys say are just like conversation enders. They're not like intriguing, right? So one of the things that I really like to do is it's something I learned a long time ago, is just to cold read the girl. For those of you who aren't familiar, cold reading is a trick that psychics used to use, but still use, I guess, back in the day, where they like through their divine intuition, they're able to elucidate certain characteristics about you, which is basically all they're doing is like using probability and sort of reading what they can from you. Like, okay, like what your accent, your hair, your dress style, your personality, like where you grew up. Like they're combining all these factors to try and elucidate some fact about you that you haven't told them yet. For example, like, oh, I bet you work in marketing or something like that. Right? That would be an example of a cold read, right? Or I bet you grew up in the countryside. Might be something someone could cold read about me, for example, right? Now, I like to do this in text messages. I like to do this on Tinder and stuff with girls because because girls fucking, it's just like chick crack. Like, oh my God. Again, talking about serendipity engineering. Oh my God, how did he know this? How did he figure this out about me? It's like, well, pretty much every girl has like, there's certain things you can say which pretty much apply to every girl. So you can say something stupidly, but this is why girls, I'm ranting a bit here, but this is why girls love fucking horoscopes and shit. Because it's just gullible, like, oh, it's so true about me, that you're telling them things that they want to believe about themselves. So you might say something to a girl like, you seem like the adventurous type. Notice that it's a statement, not a question. I'm like cold reading something about her, and it's an open-ended statement, so it leaves like room for her to sort of jump into it. So it's easy she could easily say something like, yes, I am, no, I'm not, or more likely, she's going to go down a path of something like, yeah, I guess I am. Why did you think that about me? It's like there's a hook there. You've engaged her curiosity, right? So that's an example of something that's easy for a girl to reply to. And she wants to reply to it because who doesn't want to be seen as adventurous, right? You're kind of playing to people's ego there. No one wants to be seen as the boring person, because the opposite of adventurous is boring, and no girl wants to be seen as boring. So she's like, oh yeah, I guess I am kind of adventurous. So she's like playing in, like, you're leading. She's playing into your frame. She's adopting a frame that's actually quite conducive to you guys eventually like having sex, because having spontaneous sex with a stranger is an adventurous thing. It's certainly not a boring thing. But that's just one example of something you might have, like, you might say to every girl. And you might use the same opener on every girl in your online dating apps. Once you find something that works, there's not really any reason to necessarily change it up with every single girl, right? Because with dating apps, it's about volume, and you're competing with attention from a lot of guys. Another thing I picked up was from, I can't remember who was telling me this. But this is not me. This is somebody else. I learned this from. They were like, if the girl is replying to you, you need to reply back to her like while she's on the app. Because the mistake that I've made I'm guilty of this mistake a lot, is like, oh, some chick will message me during the day and I'll reply to it at night when I've got time, which is fine because I don't want to fucking waste my time. So that one's probably a loss, right? But if a girl's on the app texting you, that's the time to be replying to her, because she's actively on the app, and girls are very, very easily distracted. Their fucking attention's like half a second attention span, and they've got a million different shining objects distracting them. So while they're on the app and actually texting, that is the time to be actively putting in the time to try and close that particular lead, get a number, set a date. And if you have, like, having a few go-to sort of lines to either open a conversation or keep a conversation or keep a conversation going or lead a conversation to the close to a point where you want it to be, it makes your life a bit easier. It makes it more systematized, keeps it more on autopilot, right? Less thinking involved, less time, less energy, more time and energy for you to focus on making money, hitting the gym, pursuing your goals, right? And much easier way to put women put your dating life at least kind of on autopilot there, right? Now, I'm going to there's a couple more examples I want to throw in here, which are actually quite spicy and relate to girls in my industry. But let's. Davina says I'm a basic bitch. Excellent, good for you, Davina. What did we get up to? There was a few things in here. Yes, Mihai. You mentioned a lot that you bring on my dumb guy infamous BDJ. Yeah, it's still going to happen. I still chat with him all the time on Facebook. We're just waiting for him to get a better internet connection because he lives in rural Australia, and rural Australia in general is known for having a shitty internet connection, and rural Australia even more so known for having a shitty internet connection. So when we can figure that out, we will make sure it happens. I pulled too hard, my penis snapped off at 8 inches. Oh well, time to grow a new one. Well, get on that. Salamander dick. Oh, God. Oh, Xavier, good question. I am a makeup artist. Does this apply to me? Perfect example, mate. If you're a makeup artist, I don't know what kind of makeup artist you are. If you're like on film sets, or if you're in like if you're working in like strip malls and stuff. I don't know where you work, but yeah, this is a good example of like that's if you're a guy sitting down doing girls' makeup, well, easy in. Where do we get to? Smash that like button while we're there. Smash the like button. Make sure you are subscribing if you haven't already subscribed to the channel. And while I'm here, while I've got everyone's attention, we have a new YouTube channel. This one. Consider this my backup channel. So this is where we're posting all my travel vlogs and behind the scenes vlogs. Like right now, whilst I'm in Miami, I'm obviously shooting out here. I'm filming some stuff behind the scenes, so you guys can get to see that. Just drop the link in the chat. Go check out my new YouTube channel. Subscribe to it. I'm going to build that up. That's there as a backup, just in case this one dies. Then I've got you guys somewhere else where I can keep talking to you. We can just switch up and post on there. If this one does eventually get taken down for some reason, that would suck. But for the time being, go sub over there, and you can also check out all my travel vlogs on there as well. We're trying to keep that one's going to be a little bit more, PG. I'm not really going to talk about sex advice on there unless this one gets banned. So that's the backup. Go check it out. Go subscribe to it, and we'll keep this train rolling, shall we? There we go. All right. Am I ever going to do a clips channel? Fuck it with the turtleneck asks. Great name, by the way. I don't know. Maybe. Could make it a third channel. To be honest, most of my stuff is in clip form these days, like with the shorter content that I'm putting out. So I feel like this sort of channel kind of covers that more so than anything else. But maybe. I do have a lot of old interviews on here, which I could cut up. Anyway, let's keep going. So obviously, a lot of guys do this kind of systematize their dating with Instagram these days, right? And they do that by basically making their Instagram a thought trap. As in, they post. I mean, Fresh Prince CEO, fantastic example of this. A guy who creates a very strong presence with his Instagram. He demonstrates higher value with his Instagram, and with his Instagram stories, he's constantly demonstrating a cool lifestyle, because lifestyle is how you attract women into your life, right? So girls will like post pictures on Instagram showing off their arts and their tits, and they'll get tons of thirsty dudes, whereas guys like Fresh Prince CEO will post, or say Andrew Tate or Tristan Tate will post photos and videos of them living a cool life, and that'll attract girls in that way. And this sort of thing helps if you are, this is a bit easy to pull off if you're in like one location, one spot, or in one industry, so you can build up kind of a reputation that way. But Instagram is another way of kind of putting this dating system on autopilot by constantly having girls hitting you up like that. Now, obviously, time is money, and this is part of the reason why I want to talk about this, because when you systematize things like this, you save a lot of time and energy. Because, look, as a guy, you should be focusing on not just chicks. Women should be like a complement to your life. You should be focusing on like building your business up, building your network up, achieving your goals, hitting the gym, getting jacked, getting cash in their bank account, right? Or Bitcoin, which is currently going to the moon. So to do that, you need to spend a lot of time and energy focusing on that. So that means spending less time and energy focusing on women. So having a system for sourcing and having a system for closing, like repeating, basically figuring out a style of date that works and repeating it, great system. Now, funnily enough, what you might see, a pattern you might recognize, right, with a lot of wealthy men, a lot of millionaires, tech CEOs, for example, a lot of them have kind of average looking wives, to say the least. Very average looking wives. They're not like the Dan Bilzerian type. They don't have like hordes of beautiful women around them all the time, right? Like Bill Gates, for example, or Mark Zuckerberg. Their partners are very, 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 very average, to be polite. And you might ask yourself, well, why the hell is that? Well, there's a couple of reasons for this. I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Not these men specifically. I wouldn't dare name names, and I wouldn't dare, allude to anything. Davina's kind of gotten to the point here right now that these girls tend to be a bit low maintenance for them. So in the home, they have like their partner, their long-term partner, who's low maintenance and sort of supports their mission and helps them achieve their mission. Saves a lot of time and energy, right? But every guy has that desire for banging multiple chicks. Every guy has that in him. And I know this through a lot of my friends in the adult industry, because a lot of my friends in the adult industry happened to work as escorts as well. And a few of them in particular in Seattle, in Washington State, which happens to be the home of Microsoft. Happens to be where Microsoft and I think Amazon's out there as well. And what they find is the girls who work as high-class companions, shall we say, in this state tend to do quite well, because a lot of their clients are high-ranking, tech CEOs or high-ranking people in businesses like Microsoft, like Amazon. And these guys basically outsource this problem with money. So because every guy has this problem. This is an imperative of every man who lives and breathes, is that he wants vagina. And a lot of these dudes who are just working their ass off 24/7 don't have the time, the energy, or the skills, let's be honest, time, energy, or the skills to get women in their life. They're just paying for it. A lot of these high-earning Silicon Valley types are paying for I'm not talking like sugar baby situations. I'm talking straight up prostitution. They're just paying for it. Very, very, very common among Silicon Valley types, and I know this because I talk to the girls who service these gentlemen. So super, super common. That's a little bit. Look, I could get even more specific and juicy, but I can't because I'll definitely get this channel taken down if I do. If I could tell you guys, some of the things I know. I know names. I know people. I know what they're into. I know their kinks. I know their perverted fantasies. I know what shit they pay girls to do to them. Oh boy, yeah. I wish I could. Look, tell you what I'll do. Maybe I will. So I've had a couple of people contact me about doing a Patreon, like a subscription service with some regular coaching calls and some sort of accountability. Let me know what you think. Let me know if I was going to do, because I might as well gauge the guys who watch this channel pretty regularly. If I was going to do a regular, like a monthly Patreon subscription, what kind of advice, what kind of coaching, what kind of things would you like to see in that group if I was to offer it? I will be offering something like that. I've got a few more products I want to release before we get onto that, but let me know some ideas because I am going to be catering it to you guys, to everyone who wants to participate and learn some more. In the meantime, though, make sure, if you haven't already, go check out my products on gumroad.com/Stirling Cooper. I'm going to drop that in the chat here. You can get my free ebook, which is the 5 subtle mistakes men make in the bedroom and how to fix them. You can get my ebook, How I Grew My Penis and Other Porn and Industry Secrets. I cover a whole bunch of stuff in there, not just penis growth. I talk about premature ejaculation fixes, erectile dysfunction fixes. I talk about biohacks, brain chemistry, fitness, diet, pushing women's buttons, a whole lot of stuff. And then, obviously, my sexual dominance escalation course. You can go check that out as well. I teach guys a baby step by step, from going from very vanilla, very tame in the bedroom to being a complete beast who is dominating women into submission. Plenty of guys have bought these courses already. They're having fantastic results. As you can see, they're all 5-star reviews on Gumroad. I'm extremely proud of this stuff. So make sure you go check it out if you haven't checked it out yet. And look, if I do this Patreon group, then I might just be, because it'll be private, I might just be able to tell you guys exactly what I know about some of these Silicon Valley CEOs and the kinds of shenanigans they get up to. Here we go. About the cannibal blood drinking stuff. Yeah, I haven't asked about that yet, Silamain. Yeah. See, this is perfect. My LTR is, Republic of Awesome says, my LTR is bi and she loves that I have options. Gets her going when girls hit on me. This is the perfect setup, by the way. Like, it's having your main chick be bisexual and actually getting like that's like a cheerleader for you. The girl who gets off on seeing you with other chicks. The technical term for that is a cuck queen. The opposite of a cuckold. A cuckold is when it's a dude whose wife is getting banged in front of him. A cuck queen is this kind of a scenario where, like, you bang girls in front of your main chick and she gets off on it. That is the ideal scenario for your primary girl, because she gets off on the fact that you're fucking other girls. So keep up the great work, my friend. What did we get up to? There was a question in here. Primark, good to see you, mate. Yeah, I know you're out there in Seattle, Danny. I know you're out there. Yeah, I'm not implying that you're one of these people. You know. Oops, where we get to? Stirling, you could offer a more sexually oriented version of what Ryan Stone has on his Patreon, just a forum of people who can talk about sex tips, questions. Excuse me. We guys can swap notes on sex. Yeah, it's not a bad idea. I actually don't know. I actually haven't looked into what Ryan Stone offers on his Patreon. I'm not even sure about that. But I just know that I have had a lot of... I get a lot of people, a lot of guys hitting me up asking me if they can book like an hour consult with me. And I know that to get down to like a guy's problem with sex in particular, they tend to not tell the truth. They tend to not give me the whole information up front. So it's like an hour of me digging, trying to elicit the facts and the truth and the specifics of their scenario before I can even prescribe a fucking answer to them, like to help them get to a solution. And right now, my schedule's all over the place, as it usually tends to be, with travel and whatnot, and now I'm back here working again. It's harder for me to lock in time. So that's why I'm not offering one-on-one coaching calls right now, but that's also why I want to do like a regular Patreon situation so that I can cater to that, but we'll cater to it in a group situation, because I think a lot of guys are going to have the similar problems, similar situations, similar experiences. It's a lot more common, particularly within like causes of like ED and that sort of stuff. It's a lot more common than guys think. And because I've done so many different like coaching calls now with other guys' groups, I've jumped in on webinars and things and helped. I get a lot of questions about like mental causes of erectile dysfunction. I'm basically compiling all the different frequently asked questions I get around this, frequently asked scenarios, like, oh, I always have trouble with a girl the first time I have sex with her, or the first time's fine, but then after that, it's harder for me to get erect, or I always go into this thought in my head and it leads to premature ejaculation or whatever it is. So I have a bunch of these very commonly asked questions of me. I'm actually compiling them into a book, and it's going to be basically like a dick user manual, like a very, very simple guide to the ED and performance anxiety. It's going to be cheap. I'm going to make it like a $20 product for guys, because I get a lot of guys hitting me up about this sort of stuff, and it's something that I think every dude needs to know, so I don't want to charge too much for it. Keep it at I'm going to keep this at a little price point and pump it out there as a good introduction for guys to sort of start learning stuff from me, because I know there's a lot of younger guys who have problems, especially if there's younger guys who have problems with this sort of stuff. I want them to be able to afford it and be able to actually fix this problem early on in their life, rather than waiting till they're like earning good money and they're like, mid-20s or whatever, and their sex life has been a shit show up until that point, So I want to kind of get in there early and nip this shit in the bud for younger men, and obviously older men as well. This is relevant for everybody. Yes, a dick encyclopedia. Correct, Xavier. A dick encyclopedia. What's your advice on setting up threesomes? Make it not about you. It can't be about you. It's got to be about them. It helps it to about them. It's like you're creating a scenario for your main chick, like, oh, I think you'll like this girl, and then they start having sex, and then the dick just comes out. Yeah, basically. You can trademark it. Okay, you trademark dictionary. Spelt wrong. All right, guys. That will do us for today. As always, hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Leave a comment down below. Check out my Gumroad, gumroad.com/Stirling Cooper. Or go straight to my website here, stirlingcooper.com. Everything you can see all my products there as well. They're all linked directly through my website, stirlingcooper.com. So go check that out. And I will see you guys. Play some music. Haven't played that in a while. So I don't wait ages to play this song. I'll see you guys next time, right? Where's the branding? There you go. Bam. Bam.